All right. All right. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started as folks continue to get some food here. We're going to start off with some of the more general things that we have to talk about. Welcome to the November International Leadership Series. My name is Dr. Nicholas Hudson, and I serve as the Director of the Office of Student Orientation, Leadership and Engagement. And this is a joint event with International Experiences as well as the Seoul office. We've been hosting the International Leadership Series now for well over a decade. And our theme for this year, as you can see on our screen, is globalization and interdependence. And this year, we're super appreciative to include the International Leadership Series as part of the International Education Week, and partnering up with our colleagues from across the university to celebrate the different cultures that we have here at TAMIU. And it would be so lovely if it actually did what it was supposed to. So in the International Leadership Series, as we do for those who've been here before, every year we have a theme as part of one of the 7 elements of global citizenship as defined by Oxfam. Part of the International Leadership Fellows, for those of you who would like to potentially earn credit for becoming an International Leadership Fellow, you attend 5 of these, either virtual or in person. You also have to participate in Art for Social Change in April. You get a medal that you can wear at graduation. It's one of the more prestigious awards provided here at the university. For those of you who are interested in becoming an International Leadership Fellow, you can go ahead and do this. All of the fall recordings will be available on our website here soon. And so even if you don't attend in person, you can actually still participate as an International Leadership Fellow. If you do not attend in person, you'll just be required to submit a 1-page synopsis of what you watched in the video. So it's a very important way. This also fulfills the international global perspective in the 3rd stage of the co-curricular. So it's one of the hardest things to achieve here in the co-curricular Trailblazers program. So if you're interested, please sign up there. And for everybody's purposes, we are defining globalization as the economic, social, political integration of people across the world. We as an international university continue to do this in many ways, and we really live in interdependent communities. So we're defining interdependence of 2 or more countries that rely on impact each other, intersect with each other. And we're really looking this year in the intersection of higher education, right? So our students that have studied abroad, our international students that have come here, and how we rely on each other in this interdependent way. There's multiple forms of interdependence that we are hopeful you can see as we move throughout here. There can be an economic interdependence that we've seen in our last conversation about Central America and the US in the 21st century. Some of our future talks in February and March will also talk about economic interdependence. You can also see an environmental interdependence. When we talk about global treaties as it relates to the oceans, and look at some of the global goals that the UN has set forth. You can also see interdependence in social or cultural spheres of things, but also, I think, much more salient for all of us as global citizens is the interdependence that many nations have in a political sense. When we think about institutions, whether they are social institutions, cultural institutions, educational, or political, there's inherently power that exists, and we define power as the ability or official authority of one group to decide what is best for others. Who has access to the different resources that we have available? Who has access, for example, to study abroad? Or who has access to allow students to come and be international students in the United States here at our institution? So today we're going to be hearing from our international students. Our theme of our talk today is gaining a global perspective, international student experiences. And we are very excited to have, starting us off here, we have Laura Jepto, who's going to be talking to us about Kenya. And so if we want to give her some dustable welcome as she comes up to the stage and shares a little bit about her country. The way this is going to work, we have about 4 international students who will take about 5 to 7 minutes to talk about their home country, so you can learn a little bit more about them. So if we could go ahead and give Laura a dustable welcome. Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Laura Jepto. I'm an international student from Kenya here at TAMIU, and I'm going to talk to you about my country. So Kenya that's our national flag. Okay. So Kenya is a country in the eastern part of Africa, and it has a population of approximately 56 million people. Our country has our country has 47 counties, and about for which has 43 or more tribes. So we are so diverse. It has a scenic views of the various landscapes, and which includes the Great Rift Valley and several mountains, which includes Mount Kilimanjaro, Elgon, and Mount Kenya. The global trade and economic interdependence. Kenya participates in various exports and imports, and its main export being coffee and tea, which are planted in some counties, which include Kericho and Kiambu, which are very cold. Kenya also grows some horticultural crops for exports, including pyrethrum and some flowers, and many more crops for that matter. We also play a role in international trade in the cargo space and the market scene, which that's a picture of Mombasa port, which is in the coastline of the Kenyan country. The cultural exchange and the global influence. Kenya has various tourist sites, which includes the coastal regions, Lamu, Mombasa, and various counties, which I can't mention all of them, but that's a picture of, you can see the person walking alongside the beach. That's the Lamu beach, and it attracts many tourists. We have game parks and game reserves like Masai Mara and Amboseli National Parks. And fun fact about Kenya, it's the only country in the world that has a national park in the capital city, inside the capital city. The Kenyan cuisine is very broad, and we have like food ranging from different cultures, but just to mention some, we have ugali, we have nyama choma, pilau, chapati, and many others. The Kenyans in the diaspora, which will be us, we particularly the US and the UK, we play a role in cultural exchange and remittance and sharing Kenyan perspective on global platforms. The environmental conservation as a global responsibility. Kenya plays a very huge role in environmental conservation. which includes like the Kenyan wildlife lives in the its habitat is very big, and we do have like the big five in Kenya, and the Kenyan wildlife in their natural habitat illustrates the conservation efforts. That's the picture of the elephants in their natural habitats. The community conservation efforts by the local conservation initiative and the team of park rangers. Also, we do have a national holiday that is particularly set for tree planting. That's on November 13th. So that's just a day set aside for tree planting in Kenya. And it's honored yearly. We do have the Kenya's role in globalization. Oh, I'm sorry. About the environmental conservation as global responsibility. We do have, well, may her soul rest in peace. We do have a lady called Wangari Maathai. She's the first lady in Africa to ever receive a Nobel Prize in wildlife, in environmental conservation. And Kenya's role in globalization. Kenya has is part of various groups, global groups, which includes the African Union, East African Union, COMESA, which is short for Commonwealth, sorry, I'm a little bit lost, but it's called COMESA. We do have the regional hub, which is the port of Mombasa, which serves East Africa, which connects neighboring countries, the East Africa, which includes Uganda, Tanzania, and Ethiopia and South Sudan. It serves those countries, the port serves those countries, which fosters the global trade. We do have tourism, we do have tourism, which Kenya, the tourist attraction that I just mentioned attracts various tourists globally, which helps in fostering the global connections. We do have trade and economy, like I had already mentioned. We do exports and imports, and the export and imports generally fosters the trade connection between countries like European Union, the US, and China. The cultural influence, Kenya is a very rich cultural country, and the Kenyan music, the Kenyan arts, fashion, and many more attracts, which makes Kenya gain international recognition. And some of those, the cultural influence includes beads. We do have like the Maasai beads, the shukas and all. It's in, let me go back a bit. That man right there is wearing an example. That's one culture called the Maasai. They do have like the beads, the shukas. That's a Kenyan side. Not a Kenyan side, but one of the Kenyan cultural practices. We do have the wildlife conservation, the global leaders in protecting endangered species, which include the white elephants, the white rhinos, and what's the other endangered species? There are many more. There are so many endangered species that are in Kenya, and they do attract tourists. And also the membership in the regional and global organization in which Kenya is part of, which includes the East African Community, the African Union, and the World Trade Organization, which promotes regional and global economic policies. And that's a little bit about my country. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for sharing a little bit about Kenya. It's greatly appreciated. Next up, we have Guy, who will be talking to us about Israel. Let's give him a dust double welcome. Right now, right here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm from TAMIU, Israel. I'm a part of the men's soccer team, so that's a little bit about me, about Israel. It's a very small country in the Middle East. I hope everyone has heard about it. It's the only Jewish state, the only Jewish country in the whole world. It populates around 8 million Jews and around 1.52 million Muslims. So kind of diverse about that. So it said it is located in the Middle East along the eastern and Mediterranean coast. It's a country rich in history, culture, and innovation. So the two major cities are Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. I would say Tel Aviv is a little bit more more economic city. Very cultural. It's known as the city of the United States. The life there is really nice beaches, nice scenery, nice bars, nice restaurants. Yes, so and Jerusalem is one of the oldest cities in the world. So most of you have heard about it. So Christianity, Muslims, obviously, Jewish people. So you have the Western Wall and the Church of the Holy Spectrum. So that's a really important city for all the religions. And about Israelis, we have some falafel, which is vegetarian, for you. That's basically about it.
Really appreciate it, guy. And we actually have an assortment of foods from different countries represented here from our international students. And then our next presentation will be from Johannes. I still have not received your PowerPoint. So, huh? Yeah, if you might have your laptop here, we can connect it real quick. Just have to switch things over here. So, is it a Mac? They should go right in here. And so, and if I could just hold on a second, make sure there's I'm trying to get the sharing of the just to not share the screen because it's not able to do it. And so they'll just have to look at your above. But here we go. If you can just give me 2 seconds while I move the screens up. There we go. Right, you're good to go.
Hello, my name is Ioannis Kouvelidis. I'm 19 years old. I'm a freshman here at TAMIU. I'm also part of the men's faculty. I'm here today to show you something about my country. My country is Cyprus. I know many of you don't know about it, but here we go. Cyprus is an island nation located in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, known for its rich history, cultural diversity, and stunning landscapes. It is the third largest island in the Mediterranean, serves as a crossroads between Europe, Asia, and Africa. Cyprus has a strategic location and a heritage influenced by a mix of Greek, Roman, Byzantine, Ottoman, and British civilization. Cyprus is famous for its beautiful beaches, ancient ruins, and vibrant culture. The capital is Nicosia, and as you can see here, Nicosia is like in the center of Cyprus, which I'm from. Southern and northern sections are separated by the Green Line. We have Green Line because of the Turkish invasion in 1974. So there are Turkish people living in 37% of our island, and other notable cities include Limassol, Larnaca, and Paphos, each offering modern entities alongside historical charm. And about the cuisine, we have Mediterranean cuisine, the island's economy relies on tourism, financial services, and shipping, while its cuisine featuring dishes like halloumi, cheese, souvlaki, and moussaka, and face its Mediterranean roots. Cyprus is also known for its warm climate with long sunny summers and mild winters, making it a year-round destination. And that's all about Cyprus. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, the three, Ioannis, Guy, Jenna, thank you, excuse me, Laura. Thank you all so very much for sharing today, with our, thus far, we're good. And then I'm gonna have a very hard time butchering the last presenter who is going to be presenting around their country, Azerbaijan. And so I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint. And I know that they're here. But I just need to pull over their presentation. So I'm going to present. And so if you could just give me 2 seconds while I also share. The screen. Right, there we go. Thank you.
Right, change how I look.
Yes. There you go.
I'm Maria Simono. I'm from Azerbaijan. Actually, I'm doing like but as an exchange student. It means I will study as master's here. Today I will give you information about my country. My country is one of the Caucasus countries. And we are called our country the land of fire, but I will explain why we are calling like that. Actually, as I said, it is one of the capital countries and located as a cross of Eastern Europe and Western Asia. It is one of the known for rich cultural heritage, Caspian Sea, coastline, and the iconic twin towers in the capital Baku. Actually, Baku is our capital city. And Azerbaijan lies at the coast of Eastern Europe and Western Asia, bordered by the Caspian Sea to the east. Its landscape ranges from the Caucasus Mountains in the north slope, and coastal plains. The country's diverse also includes deserts, forests, and rich river valleys. And I'll give you information about history of Azerbaijan. The history is shaped by the location of ancient trade routes. It has been influenced from Christian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. In 1918, we got our first democratic republic, but it was the first receivable country in the modern world. Actually, our country is not optional modern country, but most of the population is Muslim, but also in our country we are respecting all the religions. And here I give about economy and interdependence. Azerbaijan's economy is driven by oil and gas production, making it a key player in global energy markets. Agriculture is also important to such as cotton, grapes, and pomegranates. The country is modernized rapidly with industries such as construction and consumer growing. In globalization activity in our country, we are hosting many international events. One of the major events like Formula 1 F1, Azerbaijan Grand Prix since 2016, and also this year we hosted COP29 presidency. We are the president of the COP29 for 2024, and it's also 29 conference of the parties to the UN. And this event's main focus is renewable energy, sustainable urbanization, and climate resilience. Actually, I want to mention that in this event more than 100 countries participated. Now, actually, this event happens in our country. And as a goal is Eurovision 2012, European Games 2015, and Islamic Sovereignty Games 2017, and cultural leadership, the designation of Shah as a cultural capital of Azerbaijan in 2021. Actually, Shah is our most of the famous district and city, and it's a part of Karabakh, which we got the freedom of Karabakh last year. And I want to give you information about tourism in Azerbaijan. Tourism is growing with visitors and characterized by Baku, beautiful national agriculture, architecture, modern buildings. The Caspian Sea, more volcanoes, and the Mediterranean Sea are popular destinations. The country's history, historical roads, and its cultural appeal. And nature life in Azerbaijan is home to unique wildlife, including the comparison leopards and Pacific coastal national park is famous for its ancient technical and mud volcanoes. The country diverse climate support a range of ecosystems from subtropical forests to alpine meadows. As you see, you can see like growings in the sun. It fall in this Rosa. And festivals in Azerbaijan, North holiday is most important festival, traditional holiday. which celebrates the astronomical spring. And when we are celebrating this holiday, it means spring is coming. And through this traditional music, food, and games, we are playing different games. Actually, you can see these games here. It means in the corner picture, you can see this. It means when we are jumping on this, it means we are losing our bad energy. Azerbaiján is also known for its vibrant Moan music and traditional parties, which have been part of its culture for centuries. And you can see it's our national dress for women. And these are national sweets, which we are mostly cooking this in Nowruz holiday. I wish you can taste it here, but unfortunately I cannot cook, that's why I didn't cook anything, sorry. And Azerbaiján culture combines glitter and roasted peoples, halal tradition with flavors on ancient instruments such as the guitar and tamta. The culture has a rich cultural heritage, folk dances such as Yavru, Lendinga, Slovak, and festival, and a strong tradition in the art, particularly ceramic weaving, renowned for its intricate designs and craftsmanship. And questions about Azerbaijan. As I say, now I will mention why we are calling our country under fire. Because Azerbaijan is under fire because of its natural gas reserves, ancient fire worshipping temples. It has the highest number of volcanoes in the world, and the flame towers in Baku symbolize the country's fire heritage and are most city modern landmark. Yes, that's it. Just all means thank you in our language. It's thank you.
Thank you. Yes. All right, thank you all again for presenting around your country and allowing for us to really gain a global perspective on your lived experience. And I'm sure all of you, if you haven't had a chance to get to meet them yet, or support our student athletes, get to go to some of the other events that we have here for International Education Week. But really, for some of our exchange students, they're only here for 2 more weeks. So I do encourage you, if you haven't already had a chance to get to intermingle with them. I was an exchange student in another country, so as I said abroad, I understand what it's like to be an exchange student. So I absolutely encourage you to do this. Up here we have a survey. We do ask that everybody's here, fills it out. We have these surveys every single time. It allows for us to see if you learned anything today. So with that, this concludes the November International Leadership Series. Good luck on finals. We will have this start up again in February. So take a look here in February for our next International Leadership Series. Thank you all so very much.